You're about to succeed. And then something happens. You miss the deadline. You start a fight. You stop showing up. You find a reason, any reason to make sure it doesn't work out. And then you look back and realize, you did that. You sabotaged yourself. Again. If that pattern sounds familiar, you're not weak and you're not broken. But you are caught in one of the most sophisticated psychological traps that exists, and understanding it is the first step to escaping it. Here's what's actually going on. Psychologist Edward Jones at Duke University coined the term self-handicapping in 1978. His research showed that people deliberately create obstacles for themselves not out of laziness, but as a form of self-protection. The logic, unconsciously, is this: if I fail after I've already sabotaged myself, I have an excuse. The failure isn't proof that I'm not good enough. But if I try my hardest, give everything, and still fail, then I have no defense. Then the failure means something about who I am. Self-sabotage is a defense mechanism. It protects a fragile sense of self from the threat of genuine failure. The cruel irony is that it guarantees the failure it was designed to prevent. More recent research from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people with low self-esteem are significantly more likely to self-sabotage in romantic relationships, creating conflict or emotional distance right when intimacy is deepening. Why? Because closeness is terrifying when you don't believe you deserve to be truly known. This is not a logical behavior. It doesn't respond to logic. It responds to something deeper. The Lubavitcher Rebbe was a teacher whose depth of understanding of human psychology was, in many ways, ahead of his time. He led a movement of millions, guided heads of state and Nobel laureates, and spent decades in conversation with people caught in exactly these kinds of self-defeating loops. He identified something at the root of self-sabotage that psychology has only recently begun to articulate clearly. The problem is not what you believe about the world. It's what you believe about yourself. He taught that every person carries, at their deepest level, a spark of infinite worth, what he called the neshama, the soul. It is not earned. It cannot be lost. It is not contingent on performance, achievement, or the approval of others. But when a person is cut off from that awareness, when they experience themselves as fundamentally insufficient, they will unconsciously behave in ways that confirm that belief. Because the psyche, strange as it sounds, prefers a world that is consistent with what it believes to be true, even when that truth is painful. This is why therapy alone often doesn't fix self-sabotage. You can understand the pattern intellectually, map its origins in childhood, and still repeat it compulsively because the underlying belief hasn't changed. What changes the underlying belief is not insight. It's experience. The Rebbe's approach was action-based. He taught that a person does not think their way into a new self-image, they act their way into one. When you do one thing, even a small thing that is inconsistent with the belief "I am not good enough," you create a crack in the armor of that belief. And that crack, if you return to it, widens. This is what modern behavioral psychology calls behavioral activation, changing the belief by changing the behavior, not the other way around. Here's the practical application. Next time you notice the urge to sabotage, the sudden desire to pick a fight, to miss the deadline, to walk away, pause. Don't analyze it. Don't try to understand where it came from. Just ask, what would I do right now if I believed I deserved this? And do that. Not because you're sure you believe it, but because the action builds the belief. The Rebbe said something once that stays with me: a person who acts like a king eventually understands that he is one. You were not born to undermine yourself. The part of you that keeps sabotaging is not your true nature, it's a layer of fear that has been running the show. You can choose differently. Once. And then again. Subscribe. This channel explores the most painful human patterns through the lens of a teacher who spent a lifetime helping people break them.